Hello, I'm Jacqueline Nichols, and this is day number 17 of my 12-week series of daily updates until my 44th birthday. So thank you so much for being part of my journey, and I am really excited about today's topic. I have actually taken all day, so I'm doing this taping very late in the day, because I wanted to really think through the topic of information I wanted to share with you and what was going to resonate the most for me. Well, what I came up with that really just kept coming up, appointment after appointment today, and people I met last night proved it too. Be careful who you get your advice from. I was really enjoying meeting some new people last night when I was out with a friend, celebrating something for her. We just ended up having a really great time. But then as we were talking to this one guy, he's like, oh, I've got a buddy sending me text messages wanting some advice, and he's getting married in 6 months. And I was like, well, what kind of advice are you giving? And the guy that I was talking to, he's in a bad place. He had just really a bad breakup, living in a hotel right now, trying to deal with moving on after a sad and hard time in a relationship that didn't work out. Well, the advice he was giving was really bitter, and it was sad, and it was the kind of stuff that might ruin this guy who's getting married. And so it's sometimes you have to step back and be really careful to think, who am I getting my advice from? You know, when it comes to business advice, I always say never get advice from somebody you wouldn't trade places with. If they don't know how to do what you do, they might not be super successful right at this moment, but maybe they have advice on how they built their business, they transformed, how they sold their business, ideas they did. Those are awesome to have. But if you're talking to someone who's never really been in the trenches, who really doesn't know what it's like to go through what you are trying to go through, they're probably not able to be equipped to give you what you need. In life, you know, it's a tough one. If you are talking to someone who has never known what it's like to juggle finances or be a single parent or go through a divorce or, you know, really wonder if the person they likes them back, if you don't have someone in your circle of influence that has some heart-related relationship situations that they can give you authentic, relatable advice, then it's best to go to someone that does. You know, I really think that not necessarily everyone that gives you advice has to have gone through everything you've gone through before you, but there's a point of relatability. There's a point of compassion. But you want to get advice from someone that has moved through this, somebody that has really stepped past that place, but remembers it in a raw way, that can relate and have true compassion, but also authentic empathy. It's easy to be kind of like patronizing to someone and say, oh, it'll get better. It's not that bad. It's not that hard. But if you've been through it, or your heart's been broken, or you've had to suffer through a tough divorce, you know what it's like. But if you're in the thick of it and all you can think of is the pain, you might be careful to give advice or get advice from somebody that's in the thick of something, because they might be giving personal advice that is not best for you. So think about it when you get advice. Think about when you work with someone and you are leaning on them as your mentor, your guide, your supporter, your cheerleader, your coach, whatever it is. Make sure there's a point of relatability. Make sure that there is someone that really kind of knows what it's like to walk in your shoes. Whether they walked in them weeks, months, or years ago, there is a place of relatability. There is a place of compassion that is truly authentic. As a mentor myself and a guide that works so closely, and I tap obviously into my spiritual gift, but if I don't have a point of any way to relate, then I'm not going to be as good for somebody. And yes, I've had my fair share of bumps and bruises and my obstacles and my heartaches and my pains and my joys and my celebrations, but all of those have made me better at who I am, to be more compassionate and connectable with other people. So I know that that's a gift that's strong of mine, but I also know I can't be there for every one of you that needs advice and support. So just be careful who you pick. Careful which friends you divulge things to. I've got great friends, but I can tell you not all of them hear what's going on, because so many times they make it all about them, or they're not really ready to hear what I have to share, or they just absolutely, no matter how much they want to try, they have no clue what I'm talking about. So it's important to know that we all have a need to have someone to look up to and support and feel good that we have something to share, but also that we need the person in our lives too that's in our corner, somebody that believes in us and says that we're worth the extra effort. So just take a pause and listen. And be careful who you ask advice for. Don't take it from the person who still has the dagger in their heart and they're just bleeding right there in front of you in so much pain. Don't talk to the person that doubts that they're even a good business person. And don't talk to the person that is already having the most struggles just to get through their day to ask for advice. If somebody's really having a hard time with where they're at, they're just not equipped right now. Maybe they will be in a week, month, and a year, but right now, make sure you pause, think, and triple check. Who do you look to for guidance and direction? I am so honored and so blessed to work with such great clients. And yes, my bumps and bruises have got me to this place, but it's because of you that inspire me to work through, work forward, and move on up to the next level because I want to be a relatable success story for you. Have an amazing Saturday. I look forward to what I have to share for you on Sunday.